Flag over.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think we're moved around a little bit here.
Yeah.
We got an extra chair or something.
I know, I just said the pledge allegiance in the back of your head. I can't see the flag.
All right, this is the portion of the meeting that we normally open it up for anybody that's not on the agenda to have a comment or bring something to the board that is not on the agenda. We can't act on it, but we'll definitely listen to whatever anybody's got to say, except Chris Wakeman. Go ahead, Chris.
I'd like to ask if you would consider giving your permission for the parking lot in front of the highway garage to be striped for parking spaces. It's been really, really well. I appreciate you not providing parking spaces for the farmers market, but it is used every Saturday. And in my opinion, it will be a bit safer and a bit more orderly if it were striped. I'm not asking you for any money because the farmers market would take care of any financial risk. Also, I've talked to both the insurance agent representing the farmers market, and he said that there would be no problems with insurance there. I also talked to the agent representing the museum. They said that there probably would be an additional $200 to be paid for additional coverage, which again the farmers market would be willing to pay. But what I'm asking you is, would you give your permission to allow that to be done without, as I say, costing you or the county?
So you're saying the insurance company's going to charge you $200 more for striping a parking lot?
I think it's to do with the potential liability of people parking on one side of the street, crossing over to the other. I'm not sure I understand it totally, but that was what I was told.
Let me, the only thing I want to be cautious about, we had talked one time before about parking over there.
Mm-hmm.
And the insurance was always the issue. And I think this was good. I'm not sure I want to vote on it tonight. I would rather our attorney and our insurance company gives us approval before we hit it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you feel, but that's the way I feel, just for liability
Well,
issues.
since Zach's not here, I'd like, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to get him on the phone, but I think that
Just
I think that'd
putting
be.
it out there.
So you're talking actually in front of the highway garage on
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
east side of the main street.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that makes more sense then.
And it would-
I'm thinking on the other side. I'm like,
Yeah, no.
Well, I like the idea, but I want to make sure that, I know we discussed this once before, not striping, but just the parking there, and there was some concern.
Kevin probably get confused pulling in the parking lot. There's stripes there.
Well, it's a Saturday, it's not a big issue there, but I mean, it's just.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
And it would obviously be striped and then maintained from that point on.
Okay. Well, let's review it with our attorney, and of course, you know, you want on the agenda, so we really can't act on it tonight, but it's something we can take to him. But I don't know. The other part would be how we would, if it did increase our insurance premium. I mean, how would we take funds from somebody else to do that, to pay the additional? I mean,
donate.
Yeah, and that's something I think we need to review and take a look at, because if we're going to support an agency that's not a county agency and let them use facilities again, just like we do anything
Yeah.
else, what will we need?
have to have an
from them?
MOU
Yeah,
or something.
maybe so.
All right.
Farm Bureau is the insurer for the farmers market, and Buchanan is the insurer for the museum,
Okay.
Preservation Alliance.
Okay. also ours, so I mean.
Yeah, okay, we'll get back with you then. All right, anybody else? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just said thank you.
I was gonna say,
Anybody else?
Tim, I thought I was gonna be on the agenda, it doesn't look like I am.
Okay, and I apologize.
Can
I assumed the
Now, I know you
25th.
were out of
was-
it, so can I go ahead and
Sure.
address it?
Sure
I
can.
Matt, bro?
Yes.
I just, first of all, I want to thank you guys for getting us set up so quickly over at Mid-America. Everything's working very well over there. The communication, we're working out, and the space is great. Enough room for everybody. Everyone had the chamber happened to be over there today and giving people tours, and you know, they look at our space and they say, "Oh wow, you all are crammed in here." We're like, "Oh, this is like 10 times more than what we got over here." But I know we're meeting next week to talk with the architects, and I appreciate that also. You know, we have learned that space we're using at Mid-America is just about the perfect size for a hearing room. It's what we'd love to have access to on a permanent basis here closer to home, and we want to get back home. I don't know if there's any update on what's going on upstairs.
We're having a meeting, that's what we were just discussing earlier. We're having a meeting on Monday with the engineer. He's got his preliminary drawings, so he's gonna bring his drawings. We're bringing Royalty Roofing back in, and we're all gonna meet at 9 o'clock to.
So maybe maybe when we meet on Wednesday, maybe you'll have some.
We'll have
You
some.
can let me know. That'd be great. But what I wanted to kind of start talking about, which I did bring up at that first Friday meeting on the 19th, and I've also asked to be put on the next council meeting, is my carpet and my walls. While we're out, it makes sense to me. That carpet's been there for over 25 years. Now that the benches are moved away, you can really kind of get a look at how natty it is. You know, I know we use this space a lot, but really I can't think of a space that the county maintains that the public uses more than that courtroom, and it really needs a little work. I know that where the money would come from may be an issue, but what I'd like to at least do is to see if I can get Josh to get me some estimates on flooring and paint for my space. What I'd like to do with flooring is, because I have a riser, the other thing is the riser needs a little work too, if we took the carpet off, I think the riser needs some work too. But I'd like to get something like this on the main floor and then carpet tiles on the riser. But I don't know I don't imagine you guys need to vote on that, or just kind of give me the nod to say talk to Josh, but I can have
I
him
would
get
say
me.
Josh and her.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just to get some estimates to
Yeah.
take a look at that. So,
I think he did that once before.
he's
but I
done it, he said, I've done it 6 times, so, and we just never have taken an action on it. But, you know, in a best case scenario, if they're gonna recarpet my space, I figure we'd have to close for 3 or 4 days anyway. So it's a great time to get that done. It needs to be done, it's needed to be done. And the paint also, we got big chunks in the wall where stuff's come out. So just wanna let you know, with your permission, and I'll get on the council meeting also to kind of bring those same issues up. I'll have Josh get me some estimates, and we'll see what that looks like.
Sounds good.
So I know I'm kind of rambling on about this, but I
Yeah.
want to make sure the downstairs are safe too.
Yeah.
I think they are, but I don't know
I
that.
mean, from the engineer
Yes.
and all that, yeah, that
I
stuff.
mean, I wanna make sure-
Yeah, as we do the work, that we're good. And it seemed like there was one other thing I wanted to mention, but I can't remember what it was, so I'm gonna sit here for a minute, and if I think of it, and if I don't think of it, I'll excuse myself. But it seemed like there was a third thing. But I greatly appreciate the speed in which we were able to get set up over there at Mid-America. Andrew knocked himself out getting stuff done. Mike, I know you did a lot of work to get the deal worked out with the mayor, and I appreciate that. But yeah, we're working well over there, and we'd like to be back over here as soon as possible, but I'm kind of saying if we're there for the summer, that's probably what's gonna happen, so, and we're phoning, so. Thanks for that.
When's that meeting on this week?
Wednesday at 2.
Wednesday at 2.
Wednesday at 2.
That's
And
right.
it's on your agenda at the
Yeah.
bottom in red.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good deal.
And that's the meeting with the architects on the space issues, so.
Okay.
Thank you all very
Sounds
much,
good.
and I'm gonna sit for a minute and see if I can get my train of thought back in place.
All right.
So do I need to post a Monday morning meeting at 9?
Probably.
Because it's, yeah, because all 3 will be here, I'll have to
Yeah,
make
that's
a
Don't
notice.
you have to, don't you?
Yeah, I do, if you're all 3 here and having, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would. Kevin, I don't know how you got up. I don't know, it's not Kevin. So, you kinda threw me off there. You'll have to sit there a second, Kevin. Miss Clark.
Miss Clerk.
So I'm coming tonight to ask to.
First of all, how'd the election go? As
Um,
far as processes and, I'm not asking about who won or anything, I'm asking about, did everything work out
I
all
thought it
right?
went pretty well.
I was like, I thought it went pretty well.
Did, I mean, I know, we've changed our ways with the computers and stuff doing that, I mean, so everything, no glitches or anything?
We had one glitch, getting the internet to connect at the Jennings precincts, but we got it fixed. Austin stepped in and we ended up getting on the high school's internet and getting all that done, so as far as I know, it went pretty good.
Okay, all
I
right.
think for jumping in on trial before the way you did pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now
So-
go ahead.
So with that, I am coming to you guys tonight because, and I have both party chairs here with me tonight, to talk about combining some precincts. Simply because we are having a very, very hard time finding poll workers. And so what I am proposing is that we combined both middle schools and both high schools to one precinct. And they will both be at the Scottsburg High School and at the Austin High School Girls Gym. So,
To clarify, isn't Austin's there now because of construction?
well, it's in the cafeteria. So the Austin High School has the cafeteria and it has the girls' gym. It used to be the boys' gym, but because of construction, we've had to move it to the girls' gym. And then here in Scottsburg, we have the Scottsburg Middle School and we have Scottsburg High School. The reason I'm proposing this is because, number one, we had a lot of people who normally work the polls not want to do it this year because the poll pay has went back down from where we had the COVID incentive pay. And they just said that it wasn't enough for them. So combining these two polls will free up a little bit of budget money for me to where I can increase poll worker pay. But it also will take away 18 poll workers that will help me fill those positions. This year alone, I was short 14 poll workers and had no backups. So that is what I'm asking and that is what I'm proposing.
So are you basically condensing two precincts?
I'm condensing 4 precincts to 2 precincts. We will still have Finley at this fire station. We will still have Jennings Township will all be at the high school girls gym. Johnson will still be at Johnson Elementary. Lexington will still be at Lexington Elementary. Vienna Precinct 1 will still be at Vienna Finley Elementary School. But Precinct 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will all be at the high school girls gym, is what I'm asking.
Yeah. So what did the election board, what was their
So
recommendations?
this was the recommendation of the election board, is to come to you.
I'm just saying that to make sure everybody knows everybody's on board,
Yes,
so.
the election board, we had the minutes and we had the meetings, so yes, the election board was good with this and,
Michelle, I think it makes sense. Frees up some money, frees up some people. Maybe you can pay some of these people better, who knows?
and that is the plan to increase.
Well, I mean, but again, back to people saying that we reduced the, I guess, the pay. We increased, Missy actually came in front of this board at the last election and said, hey, you know, because of COVID, I'm having trouble getting people, so she asked for an increase. We gave that. It was only because of COVID that we gave that
Yes.
increase. So it did, revert back to the
The original,
original
yes.
pay. So I just want people to know that it wasn't someone cutting the pay, it was
No, this
putting
is,
the pay back to where it originally was compared to COVID pay.
right, and I did not create this budget, I walked into this
Oh, I know
budget,
that.
yeah, so.
I know we live in a small community, and I could almost see us, in the future going even more drastic to closing some others and moving other things closer, but that's for another day down the road, so. I don't have a problem with this, as long as you Randy?
I think it'll be interesting. The worst thing could happen, I think, would be a huge turnout, which we all hope for, and then you'd find out how well this works really.
Yes.
But I think it's worth
Well, actually,
trying.
I think it actually will work better, because if you go into the high school, I mean, you see it in Louisville when they show pictures in the polling places, and they got lines. If you're in, say, precinct 2 or 3, you got a line for 2, and a line for 3, and a line for 4, and you just file on in, so.
Well, and like we was talking too, I know I was up in Austin this time, and people call me, which precinct do I go to? Just go to the school. And they'll tell you, of course, they might wait in line a few minutes before they find out they're in the wrong spot. So I think it makes it more streamlined, and I think it'd be better for the voters.
The first time I ran is, I was at the old, or the boys' gym. I don't know how many people walked in, it was the wrong place, they had to go to the other place, so if we
And I
have,
will say, with this election, and I don't have a specific number, but I will say it is at least 20 to 30 calls saying, oh, I'm Jennings, which one am I supposed to be in? Which was nice there, because they're like, oh, nope, you just need to walk down the hall. But for the middle school and the high school here in Scottsburg, it was probably 20 to 30 calls, and I'm like, oh, no, you're at the wrong, you need to go to the middle school,
Yeah.
or no, you're at the wrong, you need to go to the
or
high
you
school.
go all the way
So,
to the desk, and they say you're at the wrong place. So.
Yeah, so,
Kenny, you got your hand up?
I know, I'm getting tired now. So that, especially because this would give us 3 elections till the presidential election, if we keep it this way. City elections, you'll just shed by 6. So you have 3 elections to get through until you kind of know what you're walking into with a very large presidential election.
Yeah, that's the worst thing could happen, I
Yeah.
think, but that ought to work out too. So.
Denny, you have any comment?
No, I think this it's important, remember, you're not doing away with any precincts, you're just changing, you're combining voting locations.
Yes.
Yeah,
Precincts all stay the same.
Yeah.
But all Jennings, you have 5 polling locations, 1 for each township. Like I say, I guess you have 2 for Vining, you have the one at Vining up, Finley Elementary School, and then school, high school. But I think it simplifies things a lot.
Still got 15 precincts, just put them all under one roof.
well, it's location, I mean, it's not about where you're, so.
And like I said, there won't be any lines for each precinct. If you're in Jennings Township, you can vote at any machine they'll have. So.
Yeah. Oh, they just
yeah.
put the card in for whichever one
Yeah,
you're doing.
each
so.
precinct will have they'll have all of those locations programmed
Okay.
for each machine.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to allow her to combine the Austin and Scottsburg locations to one location in Scottsburg and one location in Austin, so.
Motion.
John made a motion to,
Second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
Thank you, gentlemen. I just
You
did that
get
sign.
both chairmen degree for it, must be a good thing.
Working hard, working hard. She could have seen that,
Oh, I didn't know it was on the
because I have to turn this in, and you can have this copy.
phone, so.
I haven't changed my mind.
It's just your copy. I'll stamp that and get that sent to the state.
All right.
That is all I have, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Tammy, you need a copy of that.
I'll bring you a copy.
Thank you, Dawn.
See you guys.
So you,
Thank you.
Here. I'm sorry. he's hanging.
Thank you kindly.
All right, now Kevin. Come on up.
This one?
Did, I think she put this
I
on.
did.
Yeah, she did. You didn't both sign or not?
She's gonna give you. Thank you very much.
You sit there, I thought maybe you were sorry.
Is that mine too?
Whenever you feel like you want Zach on the phone, please just wait by the phone if there's anything you need Zach.
I think we'll be fine. I think we can handle it.
Okay. I think so. I just wanted to tell.
Thanks, Chris.
We got our assistant attorney over there.
Thank you.
Oh, gosh. Our mini critter legal over here. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the 3 papers I handed you right here, it'll be additional that we'll be taking to council this month. Those are 3 bridges that are kind of next up that we're looking at. 2 of those fall into community crossing, probably makes better sense. One of them it's really small, and we think county funded will make the best sense. So basically the money we had off 105, since we was able to go a different direction funding it freed up that money to go towards these other bridges. So
So is the
that'll
one
help.
on Reed Road the one that's got the big,
It is.
in the curve?
Yeah.
So is there any way of taking some of that curve out?
Yeah, we're gonna communicate with the landowner right there, which is the Hardens, I believe, and kind of see where they're at with it. Probably work with Civic on the right of way and see how that all works out. I don't think we can take it all out.
Oh, I
We'll
know
probably
that.
get it better.
It's almost a turn.
I think what they was kind of proposing was just one of the metal arches like we've done before, set the guardrail, 24 feet out so combines or tractors can get through there. So anyway, that's a fairly simple one. The other two will be a bid out job. One of them's the high wall bridge on Getty Road.
Yeah,
And the other one's on Plymouth, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah, the next one we have would probably be a federal aid job. We'll start looking at that process shortly, but we're gonna ask council to move 300,000 off of 105 into 35, which is on Plymouth Road.
And 105.
I'm sorry, not on Plymouth Road. Slide Road.
105 is,
105 is Main Street. And then Plymouth, the Slab Road one, it'll be the one that'll probably fall into federal aid, the money wise.
This one messes up on our
Sorry.
matching.
Yeah, it'd be a matching.
No, I mean, you're wanting to use our bridge fund for like a couple.
Yeah, if you look on, each one of them is highlighted, that's what it'll cost the actual county.
Yeah.
Would be the actual county money that goes into them, and then you can see actually what it's gonna cost to build. Of course, this is all preliminary, I'll have to get through, but
So you're going for community crossing grant? Okay, and these, you're gonna.
for
put
two
in-
of them,
for
and
two.
the other one will fund.
Okay, all
Oh.
right, that's,
So
That's what I
10,
mean, when we fund, will that pull too much money out of the match later?
no, because the one we're gonna fund is Reed Road, which is a really small bridge.
Okay.
If we pay for it ourselves, it really opens up our options on what we can do, how we can bid it. And I believe it's something we'll probably handle, locally. But anyway, and that's, like I said, it's all preliminary, it's what we're working on.
It's the plan.
And it's the plan, it's what we're looking at. Those are the bridges if you wanna see them. And these are pretty rough, are what they are.
looks like a bridge to me.
Yeah.
So Kevin, did you say you had a total of 4? It was 105, one of the 4, or is that the fifth
No,
one?
we'll have, 104, I'll have to look at that paper, I forget all the numbers.
I was just making notes. I thought.
actually 104, 56, and 100. Getty Road's 100, and 56 is Plymouth.
And then, Slide Road's 35.
Which
but
one on
that's-
Slide?
I think it's the first one right there. It's,
First one from 56? That's a big bridge.
yeah, it is, that's why it'll probably be a federal aid
Yeah,
project.
that's gonna be like Main Street.
And it's not in bad shape now, but it's going that way. It isn't due for like another 7 years, but we need to be looking at it now. We might get there in 7 years, so by the time we finally get there.
Yeah.
I think in that package, those rumble strips, is that a paper with those rumble strips?
Yes.
So I just finally got us a good contact and good vendor for those. It's kind of hard to find. I told John earlier, I talked to him. The best example is out there at 203 going to like towards Pioneer Village.
Just have them put in.
Yeah, that's what those are.
That's what I was talking about in the
Yeah.
first place.
That's kind of piggybacking off the state's contract, so we can order from them, so it'll work out.
Actually, just FYI, I'd went to multiple wrecks out there since they took the caution light out. And, so I actually called the state and talked to Seymour and said, send an engineer, send somebody out there and look at it. Well, I got a phone call back probably 3 weeks later and said, hey, they went out and looked at it, they're gonna put these strips, so, and I was out there again and saw it.
And they do help, I think.
They do help, because all these wrecks are in daytime, they're not at nighttime, they're all in broad daylight, and the two of the people I know were from, Kentucky. they had Kentucky tags and they were heading to Hardy Lake and they never stopped. I mean, they T-boned 2 cars, so. So anyway, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, if that's the way you guys wanna go, that's the way I'll proceed. The cost of them is probably gonna be around 800, something like that for the whole 9 yards. That's putting 2 on each end, you know, probably one before the slow sign, then one either right at the entrance of the bridge, probably be the best spot.
Maybe in the middle,
Yeah,
maybe.
we can put those sets out there and see what we do.
That's what I wanna do. If everybody else wants to, I'm for it.
I'm good.
I don't think we need to vote on that.
I don't know if we can consider consensus. I mean, I think we're good. I
I
mean,
think we can do consensus. It is a traffic control measure, but it's not like. yeah.
It is. One thing, and I'll have to check into this as far as the legalities of it, but they got several different colors that you could go with. And I like the orange because I thought it really stood out and, you know, made draw your attention a lot more than the white. But there's no more cost, and they did have the orange, yellow, white.
whatever you think.
Okay.
I know the state puts white down, but.
And I think that's a legality thing.
Okay.
All right. Council, the next thing I'm taking to council, it'll be in next month is, and I think I maybe emailed you on this, but, the HWC, which is a sign inventory that's went around the county, we're going into phase 2. NDOT reached out and said they had the money that we could move the letting if we could do it. So anyway, we finally got to that point where we could do it as long as the council approves moving the money up, basically. It was definitely going to happen in 23. We basically just moved it up a year. So it's like 65,000. So anyway, that's where we're at on that.
And this is for us to buy signs. for the
Yeah, they go
county.
through and they take inventories and signs and they actually replace them. So it's pretty good deal for the county. It's like 465,000. We only pay 10%. So
That's
Not
it.
necessarily about putting new signs up, but.
yeah, they do go through and replace the signs and do the inventory on them.
Speaking of that, I'm assuming somebody took it, but on Fairgrounds Road, on the west side of the track, the first set of railroad signs they have there, the bottom's there that says low clearance, but the sign at the top's gone.
Yeah, down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bottom one's there.
I thought they might have did that as a joke, actually, when I saw that.
I know I think Steven said they put 6 level lane signs up and they only made it one weekend. So.
They got lock nuts, don't they?
Yeah, that
That walk
I think they
track.
switched the bottom and top, so now they end up taking it all, so they just one. So,
So anyway,
yeah.
what else you got?
Next thing is the pole building I proposed, we took it to council. You know, they approved the money to get the design done and then bring back some harder numbers. So, with that being said, we can do that. I assume maybe when Mike needs to sign this, it's just basically a proposal that we're gonna pay them when they get the plans done.
Is this with Nathan?
It is.
We've already approved it anyway, haven't we?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
approved it before,
I'm
so.
okay.
If it's on, I'll send it to them saying we're gonna pay them.
So here,
Yeah.
what is today, anyway? Yeah. 18. There you go.
That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Man,
You're a good man.
Anything for me?
I saw where you posted some stuff.
Or did, yeah, for the,
So you already got some summer help to mow?
we got one, yeah, we got one lined up and, we'll get another one lined up. Still waiting on one mower to get back.
I was gonna say, I've seen some road cars that have been mowed.
Yeah, we've been working on
I
here and
thought
there.
so,
But hopefully, all the guys are working on a lot of asphalt stuff right now in different locations, so hopefully we'll get mowers going every day in the next 2-3 weeks. But in the meantime, we'll keep working on it.
Which mowers then?
The John Deere's still down.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys do anything with the shaft on the other?
That we did, we put it in. So far, so good. We shimmed the pump out about 1 inch and put it back in. Kevin used it several hours today. So far it hasn't broke. So fingers crossed. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what it does. So it made it longer than the last one. So that's a positive.
So what about the striping over here, when they coming back?
Maybe tomorrow, or if it ain't tomorrow, Friday. They got behind on a hospital job because it's supposed to be last week. Yeah, he called me yesterday. If it didn't rain today, he was going to make an attempt. But
Okay.
sounds like it ought to be done by the weekend. So that's why we put the string back up, try to keep them out till for tomorrow.
I did
Okay.
get over the electric department about the.
Oh, okay,
They're good,
okay.
yeah.
All right, yeah, we'll work with them on scheduling the time to get it done. Kind of go from there. I looked at your tree out there, so we'll hash it out. All righty.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
EMS,
I like this meeting so far.
well, you'll blow it here in a minute.
I'll get talking.
Did a good job, didn't
Yeah,
you?
she turned it down, trying to freeze us out, gets leave early.
Hey, I have my ways.
Yeah.
How's it?
Splendid, where is it?
So what,
He's not.
oh, is that what you, oh,
I only have, two things.
you got this on,
Mhm.
just send him an email with that.
I don't have anything, remarkable. I did bring my fancy stuff just because I didn't have anything in depth to go over. But we're at 65 for the month with 2.5 deposits left, so that's where we're at. And volume's a lot. I don't know what the number is, but,
She's okay.
we've flown like 11 people already this week, so it's been a busy week. It's not been a fun EMS week.
What'd you say?
So it's not been a fun
What would
EMS
you say
week.
before that?
We've flown 11 people this week
Okay,
so
yeah, I
far,
missed
so.
2 of them.
It's been a busy week. This is the paperwork for the vehicle. Doesn't require my signature. I don't know if it's yours or his, but it's not mine.
That's for the.
Already signed it.
Correct. Huh?
I already signed this. That's what I signed out at John Jones that day.
Okay, so then I guess it has to
I
go,
signed it.
the title and everything's in there. I didn't really go through it, so. But there's a folder that it came in if you want
She
it.
needs that, I guess.
Well, I'll give that to Lisa.
The only thing that I've got to talk about is, so we have to do Medicare and Medicaid reports every year. Patricia has done it in the past and has done a decent job, obviously. I've talked to ambulance billing. We're the only company that they have that doesn't contract this work out. And while Pat did a very good job doing it, I do believe that there might be a few avenues we're leaving some money on the table. We usually receive a pretty hefty fund each year from it. It's Medicare reimbursement, depending on the run volume, what we get paid and all that good jazz. But it's hundreds of pages of stuff that have to be provided and it's due and all of this stuff. I would like to try, since I have a line item that's funded every year that we don't touch every year, but it deals with the Medicaid stuff, to try and outsource it this year to see if it gets us any money back. Because I think we're getting here what we used to get over there, and we do far more runs here. And I think there might be some money we're leaving out there.
So I'm missing this, you think you ought to do more with ambulance billing, or?
No, I think we are leaving some money on the table with the reporting that we give back to Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay,
And there's a company that deals solely with doing these reports for companies and the services.
so it'd be in addition to ambulance billing.
Correct. Ambulance billing has nothing to do with the Medicare, Medicaid
Okay.
reimbursement, except provide us run reports, or not run reports, but run figures.
So I'm
of
assuming
income.
there's possibly making more money and streamlining it all in one.
Absolutely. So there is a fee to it, obviously. I've talked to them, obviously they're salespeople, and they say, well, so salesperson, she owns her own company. She says that we will supersede what we pay her to get what we'll get back. There's two fee options that they have. There's a contingency fee, which is 25% of payment, don't do that. And then there's a $4,000 flat fee. While that seems like a lot, we usually get, right now, I think last year we got $29,995 back.
And I'm trying to sort out, will it come out of the amount made? I mean, would they go? I mean,
No, we have to, she invoices us, and I have a line item for Medicaid reporting or something on there in the amount of $10,000, so I have the line item, I have it there, and it's not all of it.
But with this being, with all the transitions and stuff, I'm not gonna lie, we are behind the 8 ball on this. While it does help me, I do feel like we are leaving, because I don't feel with the run volume we do, the revenue we bring in, we should be receiving the same amount of money as somewhere else that does half the runs and brings in 2/3 of the income, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So that's for your
So
consideration.
we don't know what the cost is
$4,000 would be the most,
for her, the contract for her?
correct,
And you said you had 10,000 in that budget line?
correct.
My question is,
Mm-hmm.
Nick, so who did this for you at
Pat.
Washington County that you were able to, get a good job?
Stauffer
So you
and
contracted out there too?
we are the only company in the area that ABS deals with that does not. My fee over there was significantly more than $4,000 though.
It's a specialty.
Yeah. I paid almost double that over there, which we would if we went with the 25% contingency, and that's limited to $10,000
So
reimbursement.
we might have to, the taxpayer, no, so out of our funds, have to pay $4,000 more, but it feels very likely we'd make a lot more than that.
Correct.
I think it's worth trying anyway.
It's
I mean, and it's-
similar to the Title 4D stuff we do with Maxima, where they come in and analyze our data.
Malcon,
And, Maximus,
Oh.
where they come in and they
Oh,
analyze our
Malcom,
data,
yes.
and then they give us the incentive money.
Yep.
Because they look over every nook and cranny they can to find that match.
and she's reviewed our stuff from last year. She asked what we got back, and the figure that we got back and the figure that she gave were more than the difference of what we would pay. So she can't, again, she won't know what we do here, just because she can't start it until we sign this, but
What's your plans on how to track whether or not we're coming out ahead for doing this?
so there's about a 2% variance year to year what we receive, over the last several years. The only way that I can track it is to say, is it more than 2% of what we've gained over the last 2 years? Yeah, the last 2 years.
So is this a year-to-year contract?
Yes, this is 1 year, one time, and if we decide to do it next year, then we have to go through this whole thing all
That's
over
what I
again.
was
It's not a reoccurring, it's just a one-time,
That's what I was looking for in there,
Yep.
so.
Okay.
so that's all I'm asking.
So I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
John makes a motion, Randy seconds that, and I'll make
So
that
if you will
unanimous.
check the flat fee box and not the contingency one.
I appreciate you looking into it. I mean, there's always
and
room
I-
to find some more sources of money there.
And I'm very impressed with the amount of money that Pat got back while she was doing it, while juggling all the other stuff. But
Yeah.
I wanna at least,
Tammy, you need a copy of that too.
I will.
I'll go make you one.
Thank you very much.
Any questions, concerns, comments from me?
Doing a good job.
Doing a good job.
And I
you.
wanna
Thank you
thank
very much.
EMS, because there was a personal situation in my family that was responded to on the 9th of May, and I was told that even the person was actually my mother, and she was in a lot of pain, and EMS treated her very kindly, and I really appreciate the help. It was much needed. It was very early in the morning, and they got her directly where she needed to go, because they realized she had a certain issue, and took her straight to where she needed, so I appreciate that very much.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Good.
Happy EMS week.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, speaking of that, what's next week? I just, you know,
Week after.
I'm an old guy, but I mean, never my wife is every day a new, some, you know, national something day, so
Potato.
I just,
I've never heard of National Commissioners Day.
No.
I don't have that.
well, it probably rolls into another such.
Yeah, sewer department or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
But anyway, I guess why we're sitting here, Tammy brought to our attention a while ago about, a past deputy recorder, probably a recorder. It's been, I think she's been there 14, 15 years, as underneath several, recorders through probably several, you know, elections and everything else, but Brenda West, Roth, and West is not her maiden name, because she was married to Junior
She's
West
Sebastian.
before, Sebastian, so it's Brenda Sebastian West Roth, passed away yesterday, and, or last night, and, hate to hear that. I actually worked with her, many moons ago at Pepsi, when it first opened up, so and I knew Junior pretty good, and John, I know you knew Junior well, so. But anyway, just wanna notate that, so,
Very nice lady.
yep, she sure was,
She did.
yeah. So, anyway, yesterday was a busy day for Air Methods, or PHI, I don't know which one. Huh?
They both did too.
So, but they flew 2 people out yesterday, so. Okay, I guess moving on here, looks like department inventory, vehicle inventory, that's kind of piggybacking off of what I brought last week at the end of the meeting about how many vehicles each department had, and showed a little thing on the TV there about, you know, the actual report that I pulled from the auditor's numbers, and then from the insurance numbers, and there was, you know, quite a few. We have quite a few vehicles, and yes, we have quite a few employees, but anyway, I just want to kind of kick it around to see if we want to kind of, what we want to do about it, I guess the big question is, do we want to kind of mandate to people that, you know, you can have X amount of cars and we're not going to insure any more cars after X amount of cars, or, you know, I know we've kind of had conversations with people in the past about, hey, you got too many cars, and it seems like it never goes away. But I've said this several meetings ago that I would be, you know, accustomed to trying to figure out for each department how many they need, and to get rid of the ones we don't need, and to get them off our insurance. And right now with the price of fuel, I don't think we need to have any cars being driven with people that, you know, isn't a necessity, I guess what I want to say. I almost said that word, that COVID word that I almost despised when people started talking about people being a non-essential employee. And I'm going to be frank here. If we have non-essential employees working for us, then we probably don't need them. So I'd hate to categorize somebody as a non-essential person. So if you're not essential to your job or to your department that you're in, then we probably need to take a harder look at, you know, why we're employing somebody. So, but anyway, I guess I'm going to open it up and let anybody say whatever. If they got any thoughts, processes, or whatever your thoughts are. I gave John this list, and I gave Randy this list. So, and it was on our meeting. So has anybody got anything they want to say?
Well, I'll say that, you know, it's not going to be a popular thing. We're going to hear all kinds of stuff over it. But when you get right down to it, it's a very costly thing to have these many vehicles, and fuel prices are a, you know, ridiculous amount. And it just makes common sense. It's nothing personal, it's just common sense.
Well, I agree with that. Like I said, not in my lifetime I ever seen, I mean, I've seen where you couldn't get gas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the 70s, 78, you couldn't, you know, they were rationing gas, they were shutting the pumps off, and you couldn't get anything. But I don't think in my lifetime I ever seen the price of gas as high as it is right now. So, but anyway, where I'm going with this, and it's not a beating somebody up. I know we've had conversations over the years about trying to rein in some cars and vehicles, and we even passed an ordinance a few years ago, or a few months ago, a few months ago, to try to limit vehicles leaving the county, and we were kind of snubbed on that. So I guess where I'm coming with this is that as I read it, for people that didn't know or didn't see the information last meeting, there are 43, and I'm talking strictly the sheriff's office right now, there's 43 vehicles that are insured by us that are what I would consider vehicles that an officer would be using out on the road. And those are, like I said, Crown Vics, Explorers, Tahoes, Chargers, there's 2 Tauruses, pickup trucks and Durangos, and then there's a Cherokee Trailhawk. That does not include, and I will take one of those Crown Vics, I'll take one of the Chargers, I think. One of the Chargers and two vans that are actually transport vans, and then I think they have a car that they use to transport prisoners in as well. So there would be 3 of those. So technically, the 2 vans aren't on the list of 43. And I think, Tammy, you weren't here at the last meeting, but I think Teresa was going to look at some of these because there was one that was decommissioned that actually was still on our insurance, and I think she was going to look that up and try to get it canceled.
And then also, in explaining the insurance, and you guys probably understand how this works, we have fleet coverage, so it's like you get spot checked by inventory. So if we have fluctuations mid-year, it doesn't affect our premium. It's when they audit us from premium cycle to premium cycle. So if we have, we'll just say 300 cars, and we don't, but we got 300. When we pay our premium at the beginning of 22, and at the end of 22, we've got 299, they're not gonna change our premium, because that way they never exceeded that coverage by the time they checked us again. So if we add or take away vehicles anytime we're covered. And then if we would go up to 320 at the end of 22, getting ready for 23's premium, they would bill us the difference in the new premium. Does that make sense? So we are covered, and it can fluctuate with the fleet policy. We have flexibility. So we audit at periodic times to try to get a more accurate list. So if you guys say, how many do we have at this time, we can kind of give you a better idea. But 2 days later, it might change.
I get that.
Yeah.
But
And
we also, I mean,
Yeah.
I won't say a couple of years ago, I think our premium jumped like $5,500.
Because there was a significant enough change that they billed us the difference, because they hadn't banked on that whenever they did the audit. They billed us, but then the audit was completed and they bumped our premium up a little bit. They told me this last time we were basically flatlined. We hadn't increased that much. If there was a little bit of change in premium, it was due to the types of vehicles the highway department had purchased were a little bit more expensive in coverage. And speaking of highway, my understanding is too, because again, I wasn't at that meeting last time, that Teresa has since discovered that some of the items that might have been assumed not on the insurance list was covered by an inland marine policy. So they're covered, they're not a driving down the road vehicle, so they're covered underneath a different aspect.
You know, I kind of suspected, and I don't know this for a fact, but I kind of suspected these numbers are increased tremendously, probably because of the leasehold program, the federal government vehicles we get. And I know there's a bunch of vehicles down there. I mean, I've seen them, you've seen them, and I think, and I've seen some of them they've got good use out of. Some of them I think sit, and I haven't talked to Jerry about this, but in the past, I think even Dan, I had some of these vehicles when I was over there, you end up auctioning them off, and I think maybe that's a goal to get, I don't know, I haven't talked to the sheriff.
He's auctioning some
Auction a
right
bunch
now.
of them off to get rid of them and bring those numbers down.
Well,
The ones we don't need.
the ones that I think, and I'm not gonna say all of them, but I went out and took pictures of the VIN numbers and of the ones out at the John Jones building, and I don't think any of those are insured. But there are 8 on here, and this is where I'm gonna ask a question to you, Tammy. There are 8 vehicles on here. There's a Crown Vic, an F-150, a Ram, a Dakota, 2 Dakotas, 2 F-150s, an E-350 van, and a 5x8 trailer that don't show on your list. And I'm assuming that these are probably off that government where he's bought them to the military or something, but these are not on your list, but they're on the insurance list. So when somebody is going to put a vehicle on the insurance, do they go through you, or do they just call the insurance company and do that?
A lot of departments call the insurance company directly, so they give them the VIN numbers, everything that I wouldn't have, unless, of course, they communicated through me to the insurance company. And most departments manage their own, like, telling the insurance company what's on there. And then, again, on these periodic checks, we take the insurance list, update it, Lisa will call the department and verify that that vehicle is in their department. So it's a process we kind of go through.
All right, well, that, out of the 40, again, I'll back up, out of the 43 cars that I'm talking about, that doesn't include these 8 that I just mentioned, and it doesn't include the transport vans, and I'll take it back, let's say 42 plus a Durango, or a Charger, it's a transport van, or a vehicle, and 2 economy vans. So those, I'll take that off and just say it's 42, but, I did another research trying to figure out vehicles versus manpower or employees. So I asked for the payroll from January to present day. So I went back, and actually I didn't get the first, I guess I did. Went back to January, the payroll ending January the 14th, and on January the 14th I counted 22 people on the sheriff's payroll. Also looked down through there and saw that two of the 22 were part-time employees, so technically there were 20 employees. Same thing for payroll ending 11, there were 23, but there were 3 part-time employees. 225, there were 24, but then there were 4 part-time. 311, there were 22 with 2 part-time. 325, there were 22 with 3 part-time. 48, 21 with 3 part-time. 422, 23 with 5 part-time. And then 5-6, there were 20 with 3 part-time. So where I'm getting at with that is that we have 40, I'm gonna say 42 vehicles, because I know the jail uses the vans and the transport vehicle, but there are technically 42 vehicles for, I'm going to say, an average of 20 full-time employees. So I'm just trying to figure out why we need 43 vehicles. So 42, or I'll even say 40. So I guess I want to, I guess I haven't talked to our insurance carrier to find out what kind of savings we would have by reducing our fleet. What's the threshold of the number of a fleet number that gets you a different premium price? So I guess I would really like to do that first, but I'm just forewarning somebody. I mean, I'm gonna ask for a motion sometime to limit the cars, because it just doesn't equal. I mean, the amount of employees versus the amount of vehicles just doesn't make any sense. And I have with this day and age of fuel prices and insurance premiums and liabilities, I guess I would like an answer from somebody, a department head or something, of why they need 42 or 43 vehicles. So if nobody's got anything else, we'll move on.
Nick, got a question.
I was just gonna say, if we do get to the point where we limit vehicles, if we would consider having like a little leeway of 1 or 2, that way if there is a transition or you have to pick something up, that's like having to get a motion doesn't have to inhibit, the acquisition of a vehicle or 2. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you getting rid of one the other day. I think that was a plus. So anyway. All right, moving along here, consideration of, and I can't believe we're already to that point. Consideration of, something's gonna happen. John's gonna start talking here.
Thank you.
Consideration of approval for the primary election claims.
And you notice you didn't have anything in your packets because these are pretty straightforward. And here's the docket for the May 22 election. Here's all the list of poll workers, their per diems and everything. The grand total for this claim is $10,800.51. You guys are welcome to pass this down and take a look at everything. But, State Board of Accounts, recent conference I went to, they pretty much lined out how you pay election workers. If they're a county employee, they're gonna go through payroll except for those expenses that are like per diems and just flat out things that aren't really compensation, they're just benefits, from being there, or mileage, we don't want it. And there's no federal wages taken out on election day work. Now, that doesn't mean election board people and all that, but election day work, there's no federal wages.
So with that, I know, was it us that normally provided food that day for the poll workers, or did they give them a per diem, say go find your own, or?
I don't know for sure. There's a per diem and there's some mileage sometimes, depending on if it's a traveling board or not. And I'm not really for sure how that works, cause not being in
I
the
know.
clerk's office.
It's been several years, when I was a precinct committeeman person, it was my job to provide the meals. And
Okay,
then we got a reimbursement,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know how that worked, because
But it may be different now,
I
that's
know.
how it used to be.
a few years ago, somebody complained about the food, and
Oh.
so.
I
I
found out,
worked
just go get
election
them,
once or
go get
twice
them
and they
Kentucky
brought
Fried
us
Chicken,
food.
get them
That's,
happy.
that's what I'm saying, somebody always provided, and then somebody complained, so I don't know what they were doing, what they did this time, but.
As far as this goes,
So they must have to bring their lunch. They just got reimbursed for having to provide their own lunch. So that was the per diem.
Yes.
I don't,
Okay.
as far as this goes, I don't think there's a lot of choice here, this is something set by law, you gotta pay these
Yeah.
people.
Correct.
And it probably would've been worse if we'd had a full amount of people working.
Yeah, we were short 14.
Yeah.
And it fluctuates, cause last year we had no expenses. No expenses. This is a midterm. Next year will be city, so it'll be just a lot fewer precincts will be running. Then it'll be the big year. We'll
But
be
it
in a
still comes out
presidential.
of, still comes out of the
But it's
county.
still gonna
Yeah.
be the same thing. So we have 1 year furlough, so to speak, in 3 years, so.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to sign this.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Randy makes a motion, John seconds that, I'll make it unanimous, and I think all three of us have to sign this.
Like that.
I'll move along here. Claims payable to the Indiana Testing, $678. John Jones, $20,485, and Scott's Hardware for $8,400.
And that's actually 89, and I apologize.
$8,900.
Well, that's, Indiana testing, is that,
That is our random drug testing,
Okay.
and I was out for a couple of weeks, and I wanted to get this paid Friday.
John Jones is our vehicle we purchased?
Yes.
I assume for the,
That's correct.
Ratifying the Durango,
yeah, and the hardware would be,
Randy's,
Yep, mower.
mower
Okay.
project. And that's 8,900.
well, we haven't bought that yet, have we?
No, we have not.
Yeah, okay.
So do you guys wanna do?
I'll entertain a motion to throw all those together.
Well, I'm not gonna vote for that. I'm not, I may be, I'm not ready to vote for a new mower.
Okay.
I may be, it may be a good idea to have a second one. Just quite simply because I know we've got one we can use now. But it is aged. We figured, what, 15-year-old?
Could be, because it seems like Visitors Commission helped them get, and for some reason 2007 sticks in my
Yeah.
mind, but I'm not
Yeah.
for sure.
So, I mean, I'm not saying this ain't a good idea. I just haven't had a lot of thought into it.
Well,
And I'm not ready to vote for it tonight, but that's
I'll
just,
take-
maybe the next time. That's up to everybody what they
we'll
want
take,
to do.
I guess we can take it out, or,
Yeah.
Randy, you got, I guess, explain what's going on with the 8,900, so everybody knows what we're
One
talking
is,
about.
it's a 60-inch, zero turn stand-on mower. And, I actually have one of that I use. They're very convenient as far as stepping off, getting sticks, getting trash, it's a fluid motion. It's quicker. With the truck that he has, the vehicle, this one weighs quite a bit less. And it can go on a smaller trailer than what, you would normally have to have. Josh pulls or drives a Ford Maverick, which is an electric vehicle, and that vehicle doesn't have a great big tow package, or a tow rating on it. And the mower comes with a 5-year warranty, and it's right here locally, Scott's Hardware, so we would have to take it very far to be any work done or repairs done on it. With us wanting Josh to mow, the purpose of this would be that he could mow the grounds quicker and get back to whatever he's doing on a regular basis, which in your growing season is pretty important because you might have to mow all your properties in one day due to the wet ground. A regular tractor style mower would have a hard time keeping up with that type of mowing. And me personally, I like to see our property mowed once a week on a regular basis, and I like it to look nice. And so,
if, of course, the part about the pulling the vehicle concerns me, because it's not just City Hall to me, or the courthouse, I'd like to see them go out and mow EMS and Health Department
Right,
also.
yeah.
And if we haven't got a vehicle, we'll tow it. Is this thing something you just put in the back of a truck, or?
No,
I mean, I don't think so, I just.
He'll be able to
this will
tow
fit
it.
in the trailer, but it'll, if, compared to a zero turn or a tractor
Yeah.
style, it's a smaller trailer. It can haul.
Okay.
It doesn't need a great big trailer,
Okay, I mean,
is
if
what the,
The weight's
we
like.
got a trailer with this, that's what I'm asking. I'm not-
no, there's not a trailer with this.
We might have to come.
Well, he could probably use the one at the highway garage, they got.
Probably, yeah.
Well, that's what if that truck will pull that, and if he will do EMS and the Health Department,
Right.
I will be for this.
That's what we're.
Yeah, no,
talking about.
it was
okay.
for all the properties, and that's.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not
The
just
whole,
for.
the whole, I guess the whole ordeal about this particular mower
Yeah,
is the fact that it would mow all the properties quicker.
yeah,
So if you have a rain day or 4 days of rain,
okay,
and we could keep him working through the week
Okay.
instead of overtime, because it will mow that property quicker.
yeah, I don't want any overtime. Well, okay, if he's going, does he know he's gonna be doing these two properties, other two?
Yes, we talked about
Okay,
that.
because I want to, EMS has been so good about taking care of that, but I'm not too sure it's their place to do this, and,
Well, we don't want
Well,
somebody
and like we
hurt.
said earlier, we don't want somebody to have to get in the ambulance
Yeah.
with grass all
yeah,
over
yeah.
and go work a wreck or.
So if he's gonna take care of the other two properties with it, I'll be for this.
Yeah, it's some sort.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, it's all three.
okay. All right, so, did we vote on it? We haven't voted yet. have we?
No.
I'll make the motion then.
All right, well, John makes a motion to accept all three of the claims, payable, the Indiana testing, John Jones, and Scott's Hardware.
I second that.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous.
And I know I'm for it regardless, but wasn't he paying this out of his own fund somewhere?
Yes.
It comes out of his budget.
If I have another concern on this thing, is I don't wanna use the funds now, and then later in the year, he goes, wait a minute, I'm short of money.
I think
I'm concerned
Teresa,
about that
I
too.
think Teresa said she was
Teresa's-
moving a couple of things around
Yeah.
that she thought would be all right.
Okay, all right. Good
All
deal.
right. Moving along, payroll ratification for May 7th, and everybody had an opportunity to look at payroll.
Yeah, I'm for it.
John, I entertain a motion to accept the payroll.
Yes, I made a
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry. John made a motion,
I second.
Randy seconds that, I'll make that unanimous. Sorry, John. Consideration of the minutes from the March 22nd meeting, everybody had an opportunity to look at those.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
John made a motion to accept the minutes, Randy?
I second.
Randy seconds that, I'll make it unanimous. Since the attorney's not here, you don't have any comments from
Just
him.
wish him well.
Oh, he'll be fine. He's young. I will say there, a reminder for anybody that's, I guess it's an open door meeting next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Meeting about, from the architects that we hired probably a couple of years ago now to come in and reconfigure the upstairs and the courtrooms, the areas. They're gonna come do a presentation again and probably, hopefully give us an estimated price tag. So,
Is this MTR? No, it's is it MTR?
No,
Allen
it's the
Roof?
one, yeah, it's the one
Okay.
from New Albany,
Yes, okay, and that will be on Monday?
Wednesday,
Oh, Wednesday.
the
The
25th at
25th, they're
2.
coming on the 25th, which is the reminder, and your all's meeting for Monday
Monday.
is 9 AM
Yeah, we got a 9 o'clock meeting
with
just
the roof engineer.
for everybody to know that the roof's still, we're still working on the roof. The engineer got back with us today, on the drawings of what he says that needs to happen to get it all lined up. And then he's, continuing to work on an update of further things, but he wants to see if Randy, and I know Randy spoke to him, but from what I've understand, he wants to see what this does to the rest of it. He's assuming it's gonna raise it up. And if it does, then there may not be much more we have to do. If it does raise it up, he still wants to reinforce some stuff and do some more, reinforcing, but he's working on those drawings as we're doing this other thing. But we're having a meeting Monday at 9 o'clock here at the courthouse with the architect, engineer, and Royalty Roofing, which we're our roofer contractors, so anyway, just for everybody to know that. All right, I'll entertain a motion unless somebody else got something.
I want to talk a little bit.
I got one question.
What's that?
Where are we at on this radio business?
We're not.
I mean, are we going?
Council voted it down, and as far as I know, until the council decides they're gonna, allocate the money, then it's in their hands. So,
And they did discuss at their last meeting.
So even though that there's dead zones, it's putting some of our people in jeopardy or danger, we're just gonna let this ride out?
the 3 commissioners voted to go with that system. But all we can do is vote. We can't override the council as far as they're the ones that spend the money. And if they so choose to, I guess, not allocate the money to us, then we can't spend the money, so.
It's their business.
So, it's in their court right now, so.
The blood's on their hands.
Yeah, it's on their hands, okay.
But anyway, I get what you're saying. I mean, I'm frustrated with it. I mean, I carry my radio and have for almost 40 years. Well, actually, first 10 years we didn't even have radios, so you had to listen to the fire tones. But anyway, I agree with you. I think a lot of people, and I'll clarify this a little bit for some people, because I hear people say, "What about 800s? What about this?" We had a department head come to us and ask us to, and I'll say a department head, the head of 911 came to us and said, "Hey, I have a possible solution to help the radio system in Scott County." We all 3 went and looked at it. Other people went and looked at it. Fire departments and police departments went and looked at it, and we decided it was a good system that would probably help everybody in the county. So I think that's why I voted yes. I mean, to do it. I mean, but then everybody got into a conversation about low band versus 800s, and it was never about low band versus 800. It was always about helping the system we have to be better, and it was never about one radio versus the other radio, but that's what it turned into. So, but anyway, that's my opinion, and I'll stick to it.
Just one more thing also.
What's that?
Just like that vehicle that Nick purchased. Now them lagging the council, that cost another extra 5,000 or more. And my understanding of the last meeting on these radios, if they do this their table and they're going to advertise it, that's going to be another 20 or 30,000 more at that time.
It's gonna be
So
30,000
they're
more.
costing the county a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah,
there's nothing you guys can do to override it if
Nope,
we're in
Nope.
jeopardy and suffering on a radio
they're
system.
the financial board.
we don't, that's why there's 2 branches of government. So they do the money part, and we do the,
I want to throw a couple things out.
well, shoot, phones.
Right, like I said, you okay, that's why I told them that day at the meeting, you guys are supposed to okay it, look out for the community, and it's their place to fund it.
That's,
So, but
they
they're
fund
still
it, and if they don't wanna fund it, then they can. But the one thing I will say here, and this, no, I'm just not gonna say it, so.
let me talk over.
Go ahead,
before we
John.
leave.
John's got something he wants to say.
Well, it's just, I think we're gonna have, this is gonna hit us pretty soon if we're not careful. We got the new parking lot over here, and our job is going to be to get all the county employees we can parked over there. And I know I've talked to the mayor, and his plans is nobody's gonna, if there's any county employees over there, they could get ticketed. So we need to get some kind of something together, whether it be stickers in the windows or whatever, for your county employee, that we're gonna tell them to park over there, and something, so they'll,
So it's like,
we need some kind of permit system for county employees to park over there. And that's gonna happen pretty soon. We're gonna start striping for too long, and that's gonna open up, and all these businesses on the square is gonna not want employees over there. And, I know the mayor's got plans on.
I know it.
Yeah, and, so we need to not only do our part over there, which we've done most of our work, we gotta do our permit system set up for county. And some county employees may not like that, but I think it's probably something we're gonna have to do.
Well, the only thing, and it'll be, I'm fine with that, and I think that's probably right, because I know the mayor is probably gonna start ticketing people, because especially county employees parking around the square, because that was the whole gist of
Clear
doing
up for
this
businesses,
bill, and bringing, emptying spaces for people around the square. How we, whether it's a sticker, and the only problem I ever have with sticker is because some people drive different cars.
And it might be better like a handicap thing.
And if we can have something, even if you just throw it on the dash and they can see it on the dash instead of a sticker, because they're gonna say, well, I need 10 stickers and for
Yeah.
10 different cars, I mean.
Well, we'll sell them to you.
Yeah. So anyway,
I know where you'll go, on the ice cream shop.
Yeah.
but anyway, I agree with you.
If I was a businessman, I'd want it opened up.
We need to have some sort of, thing to show that it's a county employee, whether
If you're, you
it's
shouldn't be there,
it
yeah.
could be the thing in my mind is like a drink coaster, that you just throw it up on the dash and say, they'll walk by, oh yeah, there it is. I mean, so you can take it to car, so.
Okay.
I always just have a look at the big ones that hang on the rearview mirror, and you see it plainly from the front, like I'd be taking.
But anyway,
I
I think we need to move on that sometime.
We
in
need
the
to
near
get pretty
future.
quick on that, so.
And the only other thing I wanted to throw out is,
I thought you didn't have anything.
I didn't, but you got me going.
Here we go, I told you.
I won't be long on this one. I just want to discuss it. I don't think it's nothing I wanted to do tonight, but, we've talked about an employee bonus over time. And I realize we gotta take care of business upstairs before we go spending money over there. Make sure that's taken care of. And, I just threw an option out here. Just an option out is we don't have, I think we could actually give bonuses out in increments. We wouldn't have to give like a total thing at the end of this. We could give a smaller bonus before too long if we thought that was a good idea. To show them at least we have a concern and can appreciate their work.
Well,
They
there's
wouldn't have to, and if we had money left over later, it
there's
could
a-
possibly a second one.
There's a thing out there that they
Yeah.
call premium pay, and what it is it's based off a set rate, and this is through, ARPA. I mean, it's a set rate for premium pay for a 40-hour week. I think it might be an 80-hour, it's per pay period, so it might be for 80 hours. But it's like 80 hours at this set rate, and that's the check you get.
Well, the only point I was trying to make here is we could give a smaller one early, and if the money held up later, we could have enough left for maybe a second one, once we get some of our issues all taken care of.
Okay.
And I don't know what small would be. It could be any, well, we just have to decide that. I don't want to throw numbers out and get people.
I would.
Yeah, it's worth looking at, I think, because I know they've waited, what's this been? 6 months to a year now. And just something to say thank you.
Yep,
So,
I agree.
and maybe more later, maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike just reminded me of something that's, the city, the beautification committee is wanting to put on, have a bluegrass band play out there in our gazebo. And wanted to know if we would care. I think was supposed to try to get in contact with you, but I think maybe they,
I've not heard from them, or nobody's
Yeah.
emailed me, but
Yeah.
if they, we can email them the permit, and I don't know, are you looking at June or July, they want to do this?
Friday.
Oh, Friday, oh gosh, okay.
Yeah, it's a short notice, I was let know on a short notice. And, but, you know, and if we agree to this, I think one of the things that I told her that we would have to do is right there where all that grass has been tore up, we would have to get somebody to put up some type of, caution tape or something to keep people from walking across that, twisting their ankle, or keep them out of that area.
I think what he's, from what I'm understanding, it's every Friday that
It
they're
is.
wanting to do this.
They're wanting to do it, they're wanting this Friday, but they're also wanting, they would like to do something like this every Friday.
Then on that permit, there's that insurance coverage that they need to give us a certificate. I mean, you guys can, you could, I guess, approve them using it this Friday, but they need to turn in a schedule.
They have insurance, don't they?
They have insurance
And
and
then,
they've got
and
that filled
permit,
out, but
and add us to their, should give us a certificate of insurability. And
So if
then-
they just come to you, if we vote on it, they come to you
Then
tomorrow,
that'll make
you're
my
clear.
files right. Does that make sense? But they need to provide that information, so you guys will know when they're gonna be holding those things, and I can bring it back to your next meeting and just let you see it. It's
okay.
no big deal.
So, I wanna make a
I'd
motion.
like to make a motion, allow them to do that.
Second.
Randy makes a motion to allow the Scottsburg Beautification to use the gazebo on Friday evenings for a bluegrass band, and John seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. And they are going to contact you with the insurance,
And, yeah, have them, whoever it is, have them contact me.
so.
And I'll reach out to the county highway garage, I should, and ask them to put some temporary barrels up with caution tape maybe.
Josh may have something. He could probably just dry some stakes out there, 4 corners, or 6
Which
corners.
probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Actually, it was taped off, and I'm not sure what happened to it.
You got anything else,
I'll
John?
make a motion to adjourn.
John makes a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Randy seconds that, I'll make it unanimous.
Thank you.